Hi kids, this video is going to show me using the worksheet called Find a Theme in Your Poem. There are actually two worksheets here. One of them is for kids who already have a pretty good idea of the abstract noun or abstract nouns that are at the heart of their poem. And the other is for kids who really don't know yet. So that second one, the more involved sheet, is the one I'm going to walk you through. So let's look at find a theme in your poem, method 1 for kids who aren't sure about their abstract noun. So I've already got my poet's name here. So here's the literary devices doc that I'm doing. My poet here is John Ingalls, and the poem I'm doing is Damselfly Trout Heron. I already put his name in the author spot. I'm going to paste the poem title there too. Oh, my heron is highlighted. Oh, it's highlighted because I used it as highlighted it as part of my repetition. Yeah, okay. But it doesn't have to be highlighted here. All right. So, step 1, from your literary devices doc, paste the feeling sentences about your poem below on the left. Paste your feeling sentences here. See that? And paste them here. So, here are my feeling sentences. Hopefully you realize that these are your feeling sentences, these things on the left. FYI, the way I flip quickly between windows is Alt-Tab. A lot of you know that, but in case you don't. So I'm going to select and then select and then Control-C that sentence and then paste it here. Then I'm going to go to my next one. Select it, Control-C to select it, Control-C to copy, and then paste it here. And then here's my next one. I am copying and pasting it. Copying and pasting the next one. If you want, you can skip ahead a few seconds if you kind of get the basic idea here. But don't go too far. I'm just going to keep doing this until I've pasted all my feeling sentences. All right. Now, I have a lot of feeling sentences. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different devices in my poem. That might be more than you have. That's fine. Some of you only have 3 or 4 devices in your poem. I had a poem with a lot of devices, so that's why I have 6 feeling sentences. I found 6 devices. Okay, so step 2 says, on the right next to each sentence, write the abstract noun that the sentence is about. And then here it says, what abstract noun is this sentence about? Well, in case you forget what an abstract noun is, you click that hyperlink, it's going to bring you to this screen. It's a whole bunch of abstract nouns, and hopefully this will trigger for you, oh yeah, an abstract noun is a noun, it's a thing, but it's abstract, meaning it's not, it doesn't have a physical form, you can't hold it in your hand, it's not made of atoms, it just exists in the human mind. So, okay. And it's words that sound like this. See these words: humor, insanity, jealousy, patience, stupidity, sympathy, talent. And also emotion words, as long as they're nouns: despair, disbelief, grief, happiness, hate. So what abstract noun is this sentence about? My first sentence says, I think that these words make the reader feel peaceful. That is a sentence about peace. It's not about peaceful because that would not be a noun. It's about peace. That's a noun. And if you're thinking to yourself, I'm just basically finding the abstract noun that I based the sentence on in the first place back when I wrote it, yeah, that's what you're doing. That abstract noun that you plugged into here, aka that emotion word, it's just what you're putting right here. All right, here we've got makes reader feel happy. So happy becomes a noun, which would be happiness. And disgust is already a noun. Slant rhyme makes the reader feel irritated. So we say the noun form of irritated is irritation. Makes the reader feel at peace. We've got another peace. Calming the reader down. Let's put calmness. Or I could also just put calm because that is a noun as well. But I'll put calmness just so you don't get confused. And then we've also got peacefully, and we've also got dying. Actually, even though dying's not an abstract noun, well, I guess it's a, what do you call it? It's a verb form. I'm going to put death because I have dying, and I'm going to put peace. Oh, wait, I've already got peace there. Okay, never mind. Peace, calmness, death. I think this repeated sound makes reader feel threatened. Can we put threateningness? No, not a word. Threaditation, also not a word, just threat. Threat is a noun. Repetition makes the reader pay special attention to the idea of life and death and nature and circle of life. This sentence has like 4 abstract nouns. Now, if you're saying circle of life isn't an abstract noun because it's not a single word, it doesn't have to be a single word to be an abstract concept. It can be an abstract idea or an abstract thing that we use more than one word to name. So I can't think of a single word that means circle of life, but there could be one. I just don't know what it is. So I'm going to say circle of life. It is a thing and it is abstract. I'm counting it as an abstract noun. All right, so I did that for all my feeling sentences. And at this point, I might be thinking to myself, I see that kind of a theme here. I've got peace a lot. I've got death a couple times. Maybe the wheels are starting to turn in my brain, like maybe that's something about like what this poem is about. Well, let's go to step 3. In the last column, write a new sentence about each abstract noun that begins, this poem may be about, and ends with an abstract noun. So here's the last column. And then here are those same instructions. And the sentence is already prepared for you. See, you just have to plug in the word. Now, why am I making you do this or asking you to do this? Because I literally am, basically I'm trying to force you to say these words to yourself. This poem may be about peace. Like I want you to hear yourself saying that and realizing that, yeah, this poem may be about peace. Here I've got 2. So I'm actually going to just Control C and then Control V, paste it. This poem may be about happiness. This poem may be about disgust. This poem may be about irritation. As I'm writing these, probably on some level, I'm asking myself, is that true? Is it about irritation? Is it about disgust? Is it about happiness? Is it about peace? Oh, come on. I just want to copy this a little bit and then paste it. Okay, this poem may be about peace. This poem may be about calmness. This poem may be about death. This poem may be about threat. Maybe it makes more sense if I say threats. Here I've got 4 of them, so I'm just going to paste this 4 times. Paste it 3 rather. Okay, so this poem may be about life. This poem may be about death. This poem may be about nature. This poem may be about the circle of life. I'm going to say the circle of life. At this point, I'm probably starting to think there are certain words that are coming up over and over. I've got peace a couple times. I've got death a couple times. Maybe it's about peace and death. Maybe it's about, because calmness kind of means peace also. And life and death kind of go hand in hand. Maybe it's about calmness and life and death. Circle of life basically just means life and death, right? Okay, here's step 4. It's over on the right, don't miss it. It says, look at the last column and ask yourself, given everything I know about this poem, which of these sentences seems the truest? Pick 1 or 2 sentences. Okay. Well, what do I know about this poem? Maybe I'll flip back over my poem and take a little peekaloo. Well, I know it's a poem that's got 3 stanzas. The first stanza describes a damselfly being beautiful but also dying. The second stanza just says that a trout eats a damselfly when it is alive, and then the trout itself eventually dies and is also kind of beautiful. And then this final stanza says that a heron, which is a big long-legged bird, eats a trout, and the heron is kind of beautiful. And then at the end of this stanza, the heron dies. So we've got like beautiful animals living and dying in a poem that I feel like feels pretty peaceful. So which of these sentences seems the truest? I feel like animals living and dying, that's circle of life. And I think also a poem may be about peace. So number 5, step 5 says paste the sentence or sentences that you chose in step 4 here. So I'm going to paste 2, actually. Poem may be about circle life, and this poem may be about peace. Step 6 says notice the abstract nouns in the sentence you chose. That should say sentences you chose, because you maybe chose more than one. Well, what are my abstract nouns? Circle of life and peace. Now write a new sentence that tells what your author is saying about the abstract noun or nouns. This will be your theme sentence. And then here's some ideas for how to start it. Sometimes in life, blah, blah, something, circle of life, blah, blah, peace. Sometimes people, blah, blah, circle of life, blah, blah, peace. In life, blah, 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 circle of life, blah, blah, peace. Just using that, I might be able to come up with something like the circle of life can be peaceful, or in life, I don't want to say in life, the circle of life. I could just, instead of starting with in life, I could just start with the circle of life, because I have life in as one of my abstract nouns, right? But here's what, if I don't know what to write, I'm going to use this template that you see here. So first you start with your abstract noun or nouns, and then you write can or can be or is sometimes, and then you write something the author is saying about them. So my abstract nouns are the circle of life and peace. I tried doing like both. How about can? What is he saying about them? Can. It's almost like he's saying the circle of life is peaceful. Oh, I could say the circle of life can be, and then I could put the peace over here. Can be peaceful. Or maybe he's saying the circle of life, like, is peaceful. Let me point out that there's no one right answer for your theme. There are several possible right answers. There are also 1,000 ways to be wrong. So it's not the case that just anything would be an accurate theme. But it is true that 10 people might be reading the same poem and all have 10 themes that are somewhat different, and they could still all work. So there isn't just one right answer. Now, these boxes should be empty right now. So let's just pretend they were empty. I forgot to empty them before I started recording this. But okay, we're going to do step 7, which is check your theme sentence. Is it universal, not specific? In other words, does it apply to all humans everywhere throughout history? Has this always been true? The circle of life is peaceful? Yeah, like you could go back 2,000 years and an ancient Roman would still potentially agree with that, or at least know what you were talking about. Is it an opinion? It is, because not everybody would agree. Does it avoid mentioning literal stuff from your poem? Yes, it does avoid literal stuff. It doesn't say anything about damselflies. It doesn't say anything about trouts. It doesn't say anything about herons. It doesn't say anything about any of that. Does it sound like it's something a grandma could say? Yeah, I could totally hear a grandma saying, the circle of life is peaceful. Does it use my abstract noun or nouns? It sure does. Peace became peaceful, but that's fine. Does the author agree that this is true? This is your opinion, but you have to base it on reading the poem. After I read this whole poem where he describes creatures eating other creatures and makes them seem like they're beautiful, do I think John Engels finds the circle of life peaceful? Yes, I do think that. I think he would absolutely agree with that statement. Otherwise, he wouldn't have written like that. Did I put my X's in here? Is it the core message of the piece? Like, is this what this poem is mainly about? Did he write this poem to say that? I think, yeah. I think that's the point of the poem, is to say the circle of life is peaceful. But if I said that it was not, then I would start over with a different abstract noun sentence. I would go back to here. I would delete this and I would choose different sentences. Maybe I would choose poem may be about disgust, or poem may be about threats, and I would try again. So basically, the point of this long worksheet is to kind of force you to think about how the theme is coming from the feelings in the poem. And the feelings in the poem are coming from the devices. You already wrote about all of those. If you are a kid who already feels like you know what your abstract noun probably is, you're going to do this sheet that says for kids who already know important abstract nouns in their poem. And on this sheet, you're just going to do the same stuff you did on the other sheet: title, author, tell me the abstract nouns, and then you're going to go right to what is the author saying about those words. And then write your theme sentence the same way you just saw me. And then check it the same way. All right. I hope that this is really helpful. And while you're working on this, ask me if you have any questions.